revealing all about GST and VAT calculations. In this video, I will show you, using actual receipts, how to calculate the complete sets of GST and VAT components, the tax amount, the price before and after tax at any rate of your choice. I will also show you how to derive the GST and VAT formulas and how to use Microsoft Excel to simulate the calculations. So whether you are a learner, a manager, or a student, power on your calculator. This time you will learn it once and for all. But before we dive in, remember to like, share, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. My name is Naida. Welcome to the Insight Experts Education channel. Hello and welcome back. Today's topic is about GST, and in this video you will learn how to calculate the GST elements for any given goods and services at any given rate. A quick run through about what to expect in this video. First, a quick overview of the GST definitions and calculations. Then I will present you with the complete sets of GST formulas which you need to be aware of, the meaning and calculation of each, the GST amount, the price before and after GST, and the relationship between each. And of course, we will go through several examples using actual invoices and receipts to show you how to perform different type of GST related components at the rate of 10% or any other rate of your choice. Now, for those of you who are keen to learn, I will show you step by step on how to derive the complete sets of GST formulas. Also, throughout this video, I will be using Microsoft Excel to demonstrate and show you how to simulate and perform GST related calculations. So there's a lot to learn. Just follow me on this learning journey, and by the end of this video, you will be able to perform any GST related calculations for any situation. First, an overview of the GST. GST is an indirect tax. It is called so because it's actually levied on goods and services rather than on income and profits. It is abbreviated as GST, which stands for Good and Services Tax. However, it's also known under other names in other countries such as VAT or TVA, but at the end of the day, it is the same concept with different rates. Now, GST is levied on different levels, right from the supplier to the consumer level. And in many cases, those involved in the production and supplying chain get the money back. And at the end of the day, it's only the consumer who ends up paying the GST. Now, registered retailers at point of sales collect this extra money called GST from the consumers on behalf of the government or on behalf of the taxman and pay it back to the taxman when it is due. Now, GST rate in Australia is fixed at around, or actually exactly 10%, and it is actually one of the lowest around the world. However, most basic foods, education courses, medical health, care products and services are GST free. Now, when it comes to other countries, the GST is variable. You've got also the standard and reduced rates. Some of the GST rates around the world: Singapore 7%, UK 20%, India, one of the highest in the world, is 28%, and Greece 23%. What you need to know as far as GST or VAT or TVA, it is actually a source of revenue for the government and which get distributed to the states and territories to provide services including health, education, and other services. There are 5 common GST formulas that you would use or you would come across. Now, here is a list of the 5 formulas applicable at the rate of 10%. And before we start talking about each one, let's just look at the definitions. Now, GST is the tax amount and is expressed in dollars. PI is the amount you pay at point of sales, and that includes the GST amount. In other words, PI is the price including GST expressed in dollars or any other currency. PE is the recommended retail price before applying the GST amount. So PE is the price excluding GST and also expressed in dollars or any other currency. Now, the formulas are split into 2 categories. We have category 1, which includes formula 1, 2, and 3, and describes the different ways of calculating the GST. Any of those, equation 1, 2, or 3 would give you the same GST answer. Now, which one to use depends on what you have. Now, the other category consists of equation 4 and 5, and that describes the relationship between the price before and after tax and how to calculate each. Now, let's go through each one by one, starting with equation number 1. So let's just take this example. Let's say, for example, a retailer is selling a product with a recommended retail price of PE. In other words, PE is the price excluding GST. Now, for the sake of this example, I will assume that this product has a recommended retail price of $15. If this retailer is GST registered and the product is not GST exempt, the retailer has an obligation to add 10% GST on top of that. Now, that 10% GST equates into $1.50, which is the GST amount. Now, when I add both the price excluding GST and the GST amount, I get $16.50, which is the price including GST, and that is the price payable by the customer at point of sales. So with that example, let's go ahead and calculate the GST in 3 different ways. Equation 1, equation 2, or equation 3. So equation 1 states that the GST can be calculated by subtracting the price excluding GST from the price including GST. So if we come to this example here, we have the price including GST is $16.50 and price excluding GST is $15. So let's go ahead and do the calculations as per formula number 1. So GST is equal to $16.50 minus $15. And that is $1.50. So that's one way of calculating the GST, which is subtracting the 2 prices from each other. Now, the other way of calculating GST is equation number 2. Equation number 2 states that to calculate the GST, all what you have to do is simply divide the price excluding GST by 10. In this case, if I come here and the price excluding GST is $15 over 10, again, that is equal to $1.50. So I get exactly the same answer. The third way of calculating the GST, this time if I have the price including GST. So all what I have to do is divide the $16.50 by 10, or sorry, by 11 this time, and I will get exactly the same answer, $1.50. So as you can see, there are 3 ways of calculating the GST. In equation 1, if I have the 2 prices, I simply subtract them from each other. There will be some situations where you only have the recommended retail price and you want to calculate the GST, so you would use equation number 2. And equation number 3 is the most common one, which is applicable when you have a receipts, which includes the GST simply divided by 11. I just have a few things to remind you about the numbers 10 and 11 in equation number 2 and equation number 3. Now, a lot of people ask, why is it 10? Is it because the rate is 10%? Well, it's purely coincidental. It's not always the case. As you will see later on, if the GST rate is 12%, doesn't mean that I have to divide this equation by 12. It's purely coincidental. Once we get to the derivation section of the GST formulas, we will talk about that. The same thing when it comes to the number 11 here. It's something to do with the way the formula is actually derived, which we will talk about later on. Another way of reading equation number 2 is as follows, that the GST amount is equal to 1/10 of the recommended retail price. 1/10 of the recommended retail price. So if I come here and draw this block, which is equivalent to the blue blocks up there, and divide it into equal 10 segments, exactly the same size. Each one has a size of 1/10, and so on. What the taxman is telling the retailer is to take 1/10, any of this 1/10, and add it on top of the recommended retail price, and that becomes the payable GST. So the GST is equal to 1/10. So that's another way of reading equation number 2. Equation number 3 is the same thing, but this time what it means here, that the GST amount is equal to 1/11 of the price including GST. So it's either 1/10 of the price excluding GST or 1/10 of the price including GST. So again, if I take the whole block here, the whole block, and divide it into equal 1/11 segment, what the taxman is saying, I want to take 1/11 of the whole lot. So if I have 11 segments here, and simply that equates into 1/11, which is the GST amount payable to the taxman. So that's what equation 3 is all about. Now let's move on to equation number 4. So 4 and 5 basically describe the relationship between the price before and after tax. In order to calculate the price including GST, you just have to take PE, the $15 or any amount, and multiply it by 1.1. So in this case, if I multiply 1.1 by 15, it's $16.50. So at any point of time, I want to calculate the price including GST, I multiply the recommended retail price by exactly the number 1.1, and that is applicable when the GST rate is equal to 10%. Now, and vice versa, if I want to calculate the price excluding GST, and I have the price including GST, all what I have to do is simply divide it by 1.1. So in our example here, we have PI equals to $16.50. We divide it by 1.1, and that is equal to $15. So just a quick recap before we start doing some actual examples. Equation 1, 2, and 3 describe 3 ways of calculating the GST, and equation 4 and 5 describe the relationship between price before and after tax.